Welcome to Whispers of the Web, where the hidden gems of the web come to life. Join us as we unravel the most fascinating tales, secrets, and discussions from across the web. Every whisper has a story. If you enjoy our journey through the whispers of the web, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the intrigue. Story number 1. I cut this girl's hair all the time in elementary school. I don't know what it was, but when I was in middle school, this girl in front of me had long blonde hair, and I remember one day just grabbing a pair of scissors, and since nobody was paying attention, I cut a little off. I didn't even feel bad at the time, and nobody said anything, and she didn't even notice. So I did it again and again and again, until one day, I went for the big snip, and mid-chop the teacher noticed, but by that point it was too late. The next time she came to school, her hair was way shorter, like a short bob from her hair being all the way down her back. I got scolded by the teacher, by my parents, and the girl never sat in front of me again. Each person that sat in front of me was pretty wary, and the teacher paid special attention to me. But at the time, I didn't even think I did a bad thing. Now as an adult, I actually realize that was an insane thing to do, and I feel a bit bad, but I don't know what it is, but I feel like I would do it again. I'm not even sure I feel too much remorse, but it was wrong to do. It's not something to find funny, but it's truly insane to look back on. Thinking about how I got scolded by my mom and she asked me why I did it, and I told her, I don't know, no reason really, just wanted to. I can't help but laugh in disbelief. In hindsight, it feels like I was unhinged as a child. And to the girl whose hair I chopped off for no reason, I hope your hair grew back out and you completely forgot about me when I moved away. I have to agree, this sounds pretty insane. Hair is really important to most people, and nearly every culture has a different profound connection to hair. What really got me was when the poster said they feel like they would do it again given the opportunity. It seems that they certainly didn't learn much, if anything, from this encounter. I hope they never get an opportunity to do this again. They sound like a bit of a menace to hair. I wonder if they like their hair? Story number 2. I gave my sister brain damage as a child, resulting in her decreased ability to visualize. I have felt guilty about doing this one thing ever since I was a child. I must have been around 12 years old when my female cousin, who was around 10 or 11 at the time, showed me a trend on Musical.ly, and it involved two people turning someone around. I felt a little hesitant, but I still agreed to do it. So she suggested we did it to my little sister, who was around 6 at the time. And as we were doing it, we must have missed a fundamental step in this stupid trend, and my sister fell vertically on her head by a good couple inches and started crying. Recently I was talking to her about it, joking that I gave her brain damage, and she said she didn't remember the event. But as we talked about it, she said she suddenly remembered and said that immediately after it happened her mental imagery, visualization, decreased significantly, to a point where she now hardly visualizes. She still visualizes, but the mental images are not strong. After she's told me that I've been eating myself alive ever since. I don't know how to live with myself. Now I'm not sure whether people would call this a disproportionate reaction. All things considered, she didn't completely lose her ability to visualize. But the fact that I obeyed my cousin like that so easily and ended up decreasing my sister's quality of life has made me feel like crap, and I don't know what to do. It's evident from your words that you care deeply about her and are struggling with the impact of that childhood incident. It's important to remember that as children, we often don't fully understand the consequences of our actions. Children are still learning about the world and how to navigate it, and unfortunately, accidents do happen. It sounds like what occurred was an unintended consequence of a playful activity that many kids engage in without realizing the potential risks. The guilt you're experiencing is a sign of your empathy and your love for your sister. You were a child then, following a trend without the foresight or understanding an adult would have. What happened was an accident, not a deliberate act of harm. It might be helpful to have an open and honest conversation with your sister about how you feel. Expressing your remorse and discussing the incident might bring some closure to both of you. It's possible she doesn't hold any resentment towards you and understands it was an accident. While you can't change the past, you can learn from it, and use this experience to grow and be even more considerate in your actions going forward. Story number 3. I fooled my entire family into believing that I was graduating college. When I was a teenager, my father passed away. That same year, my sibling moved away to college and my mother began dating somebody new. This was extremely hard for me as a child, and I recall feeling completely alone. My mother began inviting her boyfriend to sleep over at our home, and I told her that I wasn't ready for this, so she decided to start sleeping over at his place. I was left completely alone. I remember my mom would drop off a few frozen meals a week and then go back to her boyfriend's place. I lost a significant amount of weight from not eating properly, and I collapsed one day at school. My aunt picked me up from school and asked me what was going on, and that was when I confessed everything to her. My aunt and uncle had a very stern talk with my mom. My mom yelled at me and told me that I wasn't allowed to tell anybody about what was going on at home. She would blame me and tell me that the reason our extended family doesn't like her anymore is because I told them what was going on. Fast forward to college, my mom told me that as long as I didn't share what was going on at home, and that as long as I was nice to her boyfriend, she would pay for school. During my junior year of college, I became severely depressed. I developed an eating disorder that impacted my ability to be physically present in class, and I began failing all of my courses. I didn't know how to tell my family, so I lied a bunch and played along as if everything was fine. I even convinced one of my friends to pretend to be a school counselor and talk to my mom. Once graduation time came around, my mom began planning a party for me and invited all of our friends and family. I accidentally left my school login info on her computer, and she saw my grades. Everything collapsed under me, and my family began hating me. My mom kicked me out of her house, and I went to go live with my aunt and uncle. I attended a handful of family interventions. I have apologized, and I have tried to rebuild my relationships. I also went to treatment for my eating disorder. It has been 7 years since this happened, but it still haunts me every day. My family doesn't let me forget it, but I am trying my best to move on. The situation you found yourself in as a teenager and young adult was incredibly difficult. It's important to recognize that the actions you took, like pretending to graduate from college, were a response to a set of overwhelming circumstances. You were trying to cope with loss, loneliness, depression, and the pressure of family expectations, all of which can be incredibly hard to manage, especially at a young age. While it's understandable that your family was upset upon learning the truth, it's concerning that they haven't recognized the underlying issues that led to your actions. It's not fair for you to bear the blame alone, especially considering the emotional neglect and pressure you faced from your mother. It's vital for healing and moving forward that your family understands the context of your actions and the emotional distress you were under. It's commendable that you've sought treatment for your eating disorder and have made efforts to rebuild relationships and apologize. These are significant steps in taking responsibility and working towards healing. However, it's also important for your family to offer you understanding, support, and a chance to move past this incident. Holding on to this and constantly reminding you of it isn't conducive to healing and growth for anyone involved. If you haven't already, consider seeking therapy or counseling to help you process these experiences and learn healthy ways to cope. A professional can also guide you in navigating your family dynamics and finding a path forward. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, especially under duress. You deserve compassion and a chance to move forward with your life, free from the constant reminder of past mistakes. Your journey of healing and growth is just as important as addressing what happened in the past. Story number 4. I haven't been taking my meds for months, on purpose, and now I might need surgery. I have a condition called Graves, and it's slowly been destroying my life. I can't do the things I used to. I've been living in constant pain, but I also struggle with a rampant eating disorder. I'm huge, overweight, and struggling with restriction and emission. My doctors don't believe me though. I've been told I need to exercise and diet so I can return to a healthier weight because I have liver dysfunction due to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I have a gym membership. The last time I went to the gym, I collapsed on the treadmill with a heart rate of 210 beats per minute and had to be carried out by my partner. I'm 245 pounds. No matter what I do, I cannot lose weight, and I can't figure out why. I have Graves, gastroparesis, NAFLD, POTS, hypermobility in almost every joint, IBS and EOE. Eating anything makes me miserable. My doctor told me that one of the major symptoms of Graves is rapid weight loss. In the beginning, before they knew I had Graves, I had gone from 270 to 215. I was ecstatic. Then I started taking my meds and started ballooning up again. So I stopped. I was on a weight loss drug and it really helped silence the food talk in my head and I was able to eat and was happy. But then my insurance denied a refill because they don't cover weight loss meds. I don't know what to do. I can't look at my meds. And now even when I take them, I involuntarily throw them up. My endocrinologist told me I might need to have my thyroid removed because my levels are so dangerous they're doing damage to my heart. But if I have my thyroid removed, I'll have hypothyroidism and I'll get even fatter. I don't know what to do. I'm so scared. It took 2 years to get a gastroparesis diagnosis because I was fat. I didn't get a Graves diagnosis until I collapsed at work and the hospital doctor ran tests and caught it. My primary care doctor told me she didn't want to run tests for hyperthyroidism because I was fat, and being skinny is a symptom of it. I have so much wrong with me. I live in constant pain, can hardly eat even when I want to, am constantly vomiting even when I don't want to, and I'm scared that if I don't lose weight I'm going to die from some condition they never thought to check for because I'm fat. I don't know what to do. I'm terrified. I want to extend my deepest empathy to you for the struggles you're facing with your health. As someone who has POTS, EDS, and rheumatic heart disease, I understand firsthand the challenges of navigating healthcare, especially when dealing with complex and overlapping medical conditions. I also know how frustrating and disheartening it can be to feel like you're not being taken seriously by healthcare professionals, particularly when weight becomes a focus rather than the underlying health issues. The journey you've had with Graves' disease, alongside your other conditions like gastroparesis, POTS, and IBS, sounds incredibly tough. It's clear that you've been doing your best to manage a very complex health situation. The frustration and fear you feel are completely valid. Regarding your medication and the possibility of needing surgery, it's understandable that you're scared and feeling uncertain about the best course of action. The prospect of developing hypothyroidism after thyroid removal and concerns about further weight gain add another layer of worry to an already stressful situation. However, it's crucial to consider the potential risks of not following your prescribed treatment plan. Your endocrinologist's concern about the damage to your heart is something to take seriously. While the fear of gaining weight is real and valid, prioritizing your immediate health and the functionality of your thyroid is critical. It might be beneficial to have a frank conversation with your endocrinologist or seek a second opinion if possible. Express your fears about weight gain post-surgery and discuss all possible outcomes and management plans. It's important that your medical team understands all your health concerns, not just the immediate ones. Also, consider seeking support for your eating disorder, as it's a significant factor impacting your health and treatment decisions. A therapist specializing in eating disorders could provide you with strategies to cope and help you work through the psychological aspects of your condition. Remember, you deserve compassionate and comprehensive care. Don't hesitate to advocate for yourself and seek out healthcare providers who will listen to you and take your concerns seriously. You're not alone in this, and there are medical professionals out there who can offer the support and understanding you need. Story number 5. I used to steal a bunch of money from my old job. I used to work in a big sandwich shop chain from 2019 to 2021. At the closing shift, we would bag the money and put it in the safe. There were cameras, but I was told by a few that no one ever really watched them. I started stealing a few $100s almost every shift. I probably stole about $3,000 or more, and I was never caught. I started to get scared because I was taking a lot of money, so I stopped. Then one day the regional manager told me that I had been miscounting or not doing the sales properly, so he trained me for the closing shift again. Then, I had a coworker tell me how he was also pocketing money by telling the customers that the card terminal was down but he could accept cash. Then he would pocket it and not mark the sale. I started doing the same. No one ever found out, and I ended up being fired for a different reason, too many call-outs. But that was such a bad thing to do. I just didn't care. But now I think how wrong that was of me, and I wish I never did it. The regret you're feeling looking back on the situation is understandable. Were you hurting for the money at the time? I'm honestly surprised that you didn't get caught because that is a very large amount of money. but you were probably suspected of it due to the retraining. Personally, I have never stolen anything from a job before. I would be too afraid of the possibility of going to jail or not being able to find another job. However, when I worked in an office, I always had more pens and notepads than I needed in my desk. I just never took them home. Have any of you ever stolen from a job? If so, what did you take, and were you ever caught or suspected of the crime? Thank you for joining us for today's journey through the whispers of the web. Share your thoughts and suggestions for our next adventure. If you're not yet a part of our whispering community, click the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications to never miss out on another story. Join us next time as we uncover another enthralling tale from the web. Until our next whisper.